to the end of the week, and this is Wayne Goldsboro Television. I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kate Daniels.
Indeed, it is the 29th of the month of January, and I appreciate you being with us. Let's see what's going on. Okay?
Okay.
What's going on?
Well, we had a big night last night at the Chamber's annual banquet, and look forward to sharing some updates later on about some events that took place that night and some recognitions that were very deserving. And Dr. Scott Lefevers passed the gavel to Neil Benton as chairman, and we introduced some new board members and acknowledged some wonderful volunteers. So it was a great evening.
Okay, I'm sure it was.
It was a great evening.
I wish I could have been there. Couldn't be there, but there you go. It's a great event.
It really is.
It really is a wonderful event.
You know, we pack in over 200 people for this annual banquet, and we go over a lot of the things that we were able to accomplish in 2015 and where we're headed in 2016. And it's always a great evening, and I'm tired.
I know you are. Your office is always so busy. And we are so fortunate to have Kate Daniels here as a co-host of this program, because this is one of the busiest people in Wayne County, if not the. You are.
Well, aren't we all? We're all, I think, overstretched. But the Chamber, we do 115 programs and events throughout the year. We have a great staff, but it is not a big staff. I mean, there's only 4 full-time employees there, so it's a lot. And we've got 2 part-time employees, and lots of balls rolling all over Wayne County, and we're fortunate for it. We are very thankful.
Yes, we're fortunate to have all you guys out there. You do so much. Only 4 people in that office. That's amazing. Quite a rumpus.
Is that today's word? What does that mean?
Oh, rumpus. That's a noisy, confused, disruption, commotion. A noisy, confused, disruptive commotion. I entered the daycare wondering how the teachers held on to their sanity during the daily rumpus.
That's right. That's good.
I've heard
That's
that word.
good.
Actually, I think my mother used to use that word a lot.
That's good.
Sit down, don't cause a rumpus.
Yeah.
You know, something like that, she would say. There's another one. Sybaritic. Sybaritic. S-Y-B-A-R-I-T-I-C. Never mind that one.
Never mind. Okay.
Never mind. I'll go to another word. Turpitude. I've heard of that.
Yeah, we've heard of
turpitude as well. Often used with the word preceding it, moral. Moral turpitude. Anyway, turpitude refers to depravity and wickedness. Depravity and wickedness. Okay. The trial exposed the public to the turpitude hiding behind his pleasant demeanor. He was bad. Anyway, that's the word of the day. A couple of them there. There you go. Okay, and we also have, yes we do, the trivia question for today. Oh, I did that one. The trivia question for today is, okay. Well, who played Simon Templar on television? The Saint, the program known as The Saint. Who played Simon Templar? It was a British program. Any idea?
No.
Oh, okay. He's one of my favorite actors. I love this guy.
You'd know him if you saw him.
Oh, good Lord, yeah. And I could give all kinds of clues and you'd get him right away, but he is very suave and debonair. Anyway, he played The Saint on television. He drove a Volvo 1600, little sports car. Just a great program. Great program. Okay, what else do we have here? Anything? Oh, yes, birthdays. I got to give you this. A couple of good ones in here. A couple of good ones. Catherine Ross, you know, she was in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. She was the love interest there. She was in The Graduate, of course. The Graduate. She's married to Sam Elliott, and Sam Elliott is Smokey the Bear.
Get out.
Remember,
yes.
Only you can prevent for. Anyway, he's the voice that does Smokey now. Didn't used to be, but that's him. And you know him if you saw him. He's got this big old fat mustache just below his nose, which is the best place to wear a mustache.
I was about to say, that's typically where they are.
Fellow by the name of Tom Selleck, speaking of mustaches. He is 71 today and doesn't look a day over 50. I tell you what.
He's aged very well. 3 men and a baby.
And of course, Magnum P.I.
Sure, yes.
Blue Bloods.
Yes.
He's one of my favorites as well. He can do anything. Paul Fusco. People don't know who Paul Fusco is. Paul Fusco. You ever heard of the TV show Alf?
Yes.
Ah! Hey, Willie. Yeah, he was Alf.
Get out.
He played the voice Alf.
I used to love that show.
I did too.
Bring it back.
He's the puppeteer, and he was the voice of Alf.
Oh.
Paul Fusco. He's 63 today. Oprah is having a birthday today. She's 62.
Okay.
62. Judy Norton-Taylor, who was Mary Ellen on the Waltons.
Okay.
Good night, Mary Ellen.
Good night.
That was good. 58 she is. Nicholas Turturro, he's another very talented actor. Detective James Martinez on NYPD Blue. Detective Anthony Renzulli on Blue Bloods. He is 54. Sarah Gilbert is the sister of Melissa Gilbert. Melissa Gilbert, of course, on the TV show Little House. But Sarah, in her own right, did quite well with playing the daughter on Roseanne. Sarah Gilbert. And she is also a talk show host and producer on The Talk.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Sarah Gilbert's 41 today. Adam Lambert, not my cup of tea, necessarily. He's a singer-songwriter.
Oh, he was on that show.
Yeah, I knew that one.
You know, the show with the people and the judges.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the,
people and judges and
what's
stuff.
it called?
The People and Judges show.
No, it's not The Voice. It's
not The Voice.
American Idol.
American Idol. Was he really?
Yeah, wasn't he? Am I making that up? No, I think.
Oh, I knew that. We gotta go
We got-
to our next event. After this interview, we'll be right back. Today we're in the Environmental Health Office of the County of Wayne. We're here talking with Craig Franklin. Craig, you're an environmental health specialist, is that right?
That's right.
Now, exactly. What does that mean? What do you do?
Well, I inspect restaurants, any food and lodging, so restaurants, food stands.
So you're the guy that goes in and inspects the restaurants and ends up putting the grade up on the wall there.
That's right.
And that's the law, right?
Yes,
Law.
sir.
They've got to display that grade so that the public can see it. Good, bad, indifferent, or whatever, right?
That's right.
All right, now, how often do you inspect restaurants?
Well, it really depends. It depends the type of food that they handle there. If they are just mainly doing different types of species of meat, they do a lot of reheating of foods, we'll have to go in and visit them 4 times a year, so it's every 3 months.
Oh, okay.
If they just handle one species of meat, maybe just like chicken, and maybe they do 1 or 2 items that they reheat, we'll see them every 4 months. If they just handle all pre-cooked items and they don't handle any raw foods, we'll see them every 6 months.
Oh, okay.
And that's usually like your food stands where they're just handling hot dogs, or
Okay.
they have already pre-cooked stuff and they're just reheating it up.
Maybe convenience stores or something
Convenience
like that.
stores.
Who would have maybe a chicken that's already cooked and they're just keeping it hot.
That's right.
Or, as you say, hot dogs or something like that, convenience stores and stands and such.
That's right.
Does it matter whether it's a fast food or whether it's a dining, sit-down dining?
No,
area?
no,
Or
not at all.
nice,
It just depends
fine dining?
what their menu is and how many items that they're going to be reheating. Basically, we're trying to visit them more frequently if they're doing a lot of critical steps. If they're having to do a lot of cooling of foods, reheating of foods, or if they're handling raw hamburger meat to raw chicken, the potential of cross-contamination.
Yeah.
So we want to be in there more frequently to make sure that they're cleaning and sanitizing and they're washing their hands.
Well, just in general, in Wayne County now, I'm not talking about anybody else, but here in our community, how are we doing overall, just on average?
On average, we're pretty good. We have a few establishments that we're in quite frequently, and it's typically folks that just need more education on hand washing and when to hand wash, how to hand wash. Because that's the key, for any foodborne illness is hand washing.
Yeah, exactly. How does it break down? A is 100%, I suppose, or
Yes.
a grade of 100.
Yes, anything 90 or above is 100.
Okay.
And 80 to 90 is a B, 70 to 80 is a
So it
C.
breaks down in 10s.
Right. And with the state rules, if we go into an establishment and they get let's say a B, an 88 or an 87, they can request a regrade. And so we have 14 days to go back in to make sure they've corrected everything. And we could potentially, they can go, lower or higher, but they have that opportunity to
opportunity.
request a regrade if they get a B or a
Does anyone who gets a 90 ever ask for a regrade?
Oh yes, all the time.
Okay, because they want that higher grade.
Right, but we can't.
You can't.
I mean, we'll try to get back in there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
What the rule says is we have to, for a letter grade change, we have to be there within
Oh,
14
okay.
days.
And if it's an A, you can't make it another A.
No,
Okay.
because they already have an A. We'd be spinning our wheels if everybody that had a low A wanted to just to get a little higher A.
Of course, that would be an extra cost to taxpayers.
That's right.
And we don't want that.
That's right.
So we got A, B, C, D. Is there such a thing as a minus F or anything?
No,
there's no F.
usually if it's in the rules it states if anything below a 70, you are going to be, your establishment will be closed.
Oh, below a 70, it'll be closed.
Yes.
Does that happen?
Not often.
Okay.
We have a few that
Have been closed? Okay, well, what type of establishment, if I might ask, without naming names, of course, what type of establishment is more commonly having the lower grade?
There's really no way to pinpoint a type. It's just the amount of times that we're in an establishment because of the category they're going to have a lot more critical steps that they have to. So it could be one time we go into a place that folks are just not following their correct procedures,
Yeah.
and it's just.
Well,
Their
now, I'm
grade
not-
goes down,
I'm
so
not
it's
trying
not
to-
real. It's not. It's really hard to pinpoint
know.
what restaurants are.
I'm not trying to nail anyone, but when I'm at the coast, now along
Mm-hmm.
the coast, you see more common to see a lower grade, and I can't help but feel that's simply because of the environment. Well, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
sand, there's a lot of people, barefooted, there's a lot of that going on. But we don't have beaches here. We have a lot of sand,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have a lot of barefooted people running around either.
Right, and you also have to take in consideration the type of facility that you're going into. A lot of older places will typically, if you take away from the food handling aspect and look at the facility itself, we take points for anything that's in bad repair, for like walls, floors, ceilings. And then equipment, if the equipment needs to be cleaned or if the equipment is bad, they get points for that. So
So if there's a hole in the wall, that's a point. They get points for that.
well, it's not like you get a point for every hole. Under our rules, there's this for the general public. 53 talks about floors, walls, and ceilings. So
Rule number 53.
Yeah, well, line item 53 on
Line
the
item 53.
the inspection report that. Let's just say that you had holes in your walls. The most points you can get for that is 1 point.
Oh, okay.
So, but all that starts to add up. Like if your equipment, if you don't care about your racks, if they're rusting, or if the equipment is failing, that starts to add up. So I'm not saying that the coast. It's just more things down there. I've probably been there for a good while. So,
Well, I'm
and
not
plus-
picking on the coast. Even though I like the coast.
It kind
now-
of depends the establishment that you're going to. If
Yeah.
you're going to a fast or a chain, most of those are practically new, so it's kind of hard to say.
Well, now here's the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it like if I own a restaurant, I'm going to do everything I can to get repeat business.
That's right.
Somebody comes in one time, they eat something and they don't like it, then I'm going to make it right for them. And if there's a problem with the cooking, or if there's a problem, and you point this out, which you do to actually help people
Mm-hmm.
keep their business healthy, you don't go in actually trying to find things wrong to make things really horrible for these restaurant owners.
No,
You go in to try and
no.
help.
Yeah, and usually we'll see that when we're sitting down and going over the inspection, they're like, I can't believe you found all this stuff. I was like, I didn't. You're the one who did all this. I didn't make any of this up. All this stuff that you did, you were out of compliance.
Yeah.
So I'm there to help them and educate them to have a better food safety practice, so they're not going to harm any of the public. So,
Okay, so what is the most, in your opinion, the most common problem or the most thing out of compliance? What would be the most common thing?
Most common thing here, since we adopted the food code, is hand washing, when to hand wash, and bare hand contact to ready-to-eat foods. So
Bare hand contact. They have to wear.
they have to have. Well, we're not saying you have to wear gloves. You have to have some type of barrier. You can't use your bare hands to touch ready-to-eat foods that's going to go directly into your mouth.
Oh, okay.
So when people hear that, they think, oh, I have to wear gloves. I got to wear gloves for everything. No, we're not saying that. You have to. I mean, I have folks out there that are doing push carts, and all they sell is hot dogs. And some of them don't wear gloves. But they could do that if they could prove that they're not touching with their hands. So they can use tongs.
Yeah.
They can use parchment paper. So a lot of folks think, and we're seeing this a lot, where they'll go into work, they'll wash their hands, they'll put gloves on, and they'll wear that same pair of gloves all day.
For everything.
For everything. And you can't do that.
That's not good either,
that's not we're not saying you have to wear gloves when you go to work. We're just saying, no bare hand contact with ready-to-eat foods.
Okay.
So when you come to that point of the steps of preparing your food, when it is a food that's going to go to the consumer's mouth, they need to
Use
have some type of
tongs,
barrier.
or use
Gloves,
something like that. Gloves.
tongs,
Yeah.
parchment
You
paper.
ever
Or,
tell anybody to stick their tongue out? No, I guess
No.
not. Okay,
No.
let's look over the hand washing thing here. Steps in effective hand washing. Describe what we do here and point.
basically, step one, you want to go to the the proper hand washing station. You can't just go to a sink. It has to be a hand washing sink. You can't go through a 3-compartment sink or a prep sink to wash your hands. You have to go to a hand sink.
Okay, I don't follow. What's the difference?
Well, the difference is your 3-compartment sinks for dishes. So,
Oh, okay. I knew that.
So you don't want to go up to your 3-compartment sink and wash your
You
hands,
don't wanna do
because
that?
if you're handling raw chicken, all those compartments that you've contaminated could potentially make your dishes contaminated. So we're
contaminated.
trying to eliminate that cross contamination. So the first thing is to go to a proper hand
washing
sink.
station.
Hand sink.
A hand sink.
Yeah, where there's soap and paper towels.
Okay.
And then you turn your water on, your hot water on. You completely get your hands wet. Use soap and rub your hands together for
Okay.
20 seconds.
Right here?
Yes. And use nail brush to clean underneath your nails.
Okay. Right?
And then rinse for 10 seconds,
Okay.
including your forearms. And get a paper towel, dry your hands, and use that paper towel to turn off the faucet.
Use a paper towel to turn off the faucet and perhaps even open the door.
Of course.
Paper towel. to-
Right. We hope in a kitchen setting you wouldn't have doors to go through. So
Well, yeah, because you're gonna hand wash the
That's
sink.
right. You hand wash the sink. Now it's totally different if you go to the bathroom and use a sink there.
Yeah.
Wash your hands after you go to the restroom. Then after you leave the restroom, you come to the kitchen. You know what you do? You wash your hands again, because all those doors that you went through.
Oh, yeah.
There's a potential contamination.
Yeah. Okay. So this
This is just the procedures of hand washing, but
This is
there's
just hand washing.
there's other steps. You need to know when to wash your hands. A lot of folks, when they report to work, they don't wash their hands, and that's out of compliance, because you need to wash your hands when you
When you
report
get
to
to
work.
work.
If you go to the restroom and when you return back from the restroom, you need to wash your hands.
Yeah.
Any-
Wash your hand between meals. I mean,
well, anytime that you have, let's say that you're handling dirty dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're the dishwasher of the day and you're handling dirty dishes and you're washing them. Well, you've handled dirty dishes. Before you go and grab clean dishes, you need to stop,
And
go to
wash
the
your
hands
hands.
and wash your hands.
Okay. You ever get dishpan hands doing that?
Yeah, there's a
Remember the
lot.
TV?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of dishpan hands.
Okay, all right. But that's part of their job.
Yes, sir.
And this hand washing is probably or possibly the most misunderstood or most out of compliance thing that you'll find
Yes.
in a restaurant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We see a lot of folks that they'll do all the steps right. They'll wash their hands for 20 seconds, and what they'll do is they'll grab a paper towel, dry their hands, throw the paper towel away, and then turn the faucet off with their hands. Well, they've just contaminated their hands. So that's
Not
usually
thinking.
not thinking.
Not thinking. Okay, we've covered a lot of that. Now, besides restaurants, where else would this apply?
Hand washing for any food establishment, it belongs there. You have to wash your hands.
All right. Whether it's a clinic cafeteria, a business cafeteria, perhaps?
Yes, in any of the institutions, even at our colleges that we have here,
Yeah.
they have institutions. They have
They have to have a.
yeah, any permitted establishment that we are in there to permit, they have to follow the food code.
All right. So besides restaurants, What else do you cover?
Of course, we already talked about some of the convenience stores. I do convenience
Yeah.
stores. I do the institution like nursing home kitchens, hospital, of course. Let's see.
You inspect the hospital.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
that's interesting. That's, that's part of the job.
Yeah, that's part. Yeah, they're a permitted facility.
That they are. So any permanent facility that handles food,
Yes.
you're responsible for inspection.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
And daycares.
And
I also do daycares, but they're not a food establishment. It's just another part of our food and lodging department that we covered.
Craig, around the Wayne County area, I'm beginning to see more and more push carts, food trucks, that sort of thing.
Yes, sir.
Let's address that. First of all, is this a growing phenomenon? And secondly, what do people do if they want to start their own?
Yeah, we've been noticing here a lot lately that we'll just get a phone call. Somebody, these popular shows about these food trucks or something, they'll call and they're interested in selling food. Basically, what we tell folks is they can go to our website and there's a plan review application. And our website is waynegov.com, and we're under the environmental health section. And the plan review fee is $200. And that's just for restaurants, convenience stores, anything where that you're going to have people sitting at, or if it's a takeout, you'll have to pay that $200 fee. And for mobile food units, it'll be a $200 fee.
Okay.
Now, we do have what's considered a push cart permit, and that doesn't cost anything, but we just need a couple days in advance if you're going to bring up your push cart before, so we're here so we can come and look at it and just make sure that it's NSF approved, which is a National Sanitation Foundation. The equipment itself's got to be NSF approved or equivalent, so just make sure you're aware of that. And
it has to be approved before they actually go out and do business.
exactly. So before we'll write your permit, we'll look at your equipment to make sure that it's approved.
Okay.
We won't. If you just weld some things together and put it on wheels, we're not gonna have you out there, because you need to make sure things are maintained cold,
Yeah.
and if they're hot, they have to be maintained hot.
So if I have 2 bicycle wheels and an orange crate, forget it, right?
Forget it.
It's not going to work.
It's not gonna
All right,
work.
No way to cool the items. So same thing hold true for food trucks?
Well, it costs $200 for food trucks
trucks.
because there's a lot more.
Yeah.
The rules are a lot longer for that instead of a push
But now,
cart.
define a push cart to me. What would a push cart, typical push cart
A
be?
typical push cart, in the rules it says you can sell hot dogs. So push cart would be most of them that we've seen are stainless steel. They'll have a hot well and a cold well on there.
And they're made specifically for this purpose?
Yeah, they're just, you can buy them off the internet just for these things. We're seeing a lot of them. And what we require is you have some type of barrier for wind or dust, around where you're going to be making the hot dogs at. So some of these carts don't have that. So it'll be something that you might have to, get some plexiglass and kind of build a little type of screen for.
And as we move along here, let me ask you again for that website address.
It's
Waynegov?
waynegov.com, and our department's environmental health, and then you could find the plan review application for that.
You look under government and go down the titles to
Yeah, and there are a couple more other permits that we just want other folks to understand that if you are coming here for a festival or any type of event, you'll need to get a what's considered a temporary food establishment permit. And these are folks who are coming to a fair or some type of festival, and they're here just for that festival. And if they're not already a permitted establishment, like a mobile food unit, they'll need to get a temporary food establishment.
I hadn't even thought about that, but I've seen them at the fair.
Yes, and
these food trucks that come in for the fair, they actually have to come to you and get a
well, if they already are permitted in the state, they won't need to get a permit. But
From here.
they still need to let us know that they have it. So
Okay.
we'll when we go out there, we don't go, hey, where's your permit? They're like, hey, we have one.
Hey, we have one.
Why didn't you let us know? But anyways, if you do want to sell food, there are an application on our website. It's called a temporary food establishment permit, and it's $75. Now, if you don't get that application in within 2 weeks of that event, it's double the price. So just
Ooh,
make
okay.
sure that you go to our website if you plan to sell food at an event, you get that application in. If not, it's double the price.
Okay.
So that's true for anything temporary. Somebody that may set up at the Pickle Festival, someone that may set up at the Daffodil Festival.
That's right.
Or the Wayne County Fair,
That is
Wayne
right.
Regional Fair.
That is right.
All right, very good.
Yep, and there's a whole checklist of things that is required for you to to sell food that we'll see to make sure you have some way to wash your hands, some way to to keep things hot, cook, your thermometers.
And all this is on the website.
All this is on the website. It's
Okay.
a whole app. It's like an application. And it has a checklist, and we want to make sure that all the food is comes from an approved source. So you don't go and slaughter something and say I'm gonna. It needs to be all approved.
Go. You can't get it from down the street from the guy with the meat hanging in his coat,
That's right.
That
It
guy
has
with
to,
the
you have
shades
to
and a
get
hat.
It all needs to be inspected. Department of Ag.
Oh, okay.
Another permit that we get a lot of calls for are limiteds, and these are like concession stands.
Oh.
And the only thing that we ask there is that just remember the beginning of the year you have to pay the $75 fee, another application, and those expire the December 31st of every year. So
it's-
these are athletic events.
Each
like
calendar
your high
event, like
schools.
football, the basketball games, high school.
That's right.
And college.
They'll need
That's
to
right.
do that.
What about turkey shoot? Somebody have a concession
Well-
stand at a turkey shoot or something like that.
Well, so if they're selling food, and it's this is another thing that we talk to folks about. They'll call up and say, I'm from a nonprofit organization. Well, they won't need a permit because that if they could prove that it's a nonprofit through the 501c, well, they don't need a permit because all that money is going back to a non.
Okay, if a nonprofit organization will not need the permit.
That's right. That's right.
Okay,
So,
do any of them need the sanitation grade? They do not, okay.
No, only grades that you'll see is for your limiteds. Your temporaries, you'll never see a grade. But you want to make sure they have a permit. And
Okay.
it's this year. We've
yeah.
had some that just show up with a permit from a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah, that didn't fly, did it?
No.
No, and they knew it was wrong,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, they knew it, yeah. Is that a fine?
No,
That's a slap on the wrist?
Unfortunately, we are not a law enforcement agency. We don't fine. We can't send you to jail.
Can you flatten their tires? No, we don't want to do that.
No.
Okay.
We don't want to do that.
All right. And again, they will take
do.
already cooked food and heat it up usually.
Usually, yeah, for the kids, and of course they need to wash their hands properly.
Of course they do.
Because it's the primary thing to for foodborne illnesses is the number one prevention. I mean,
Okay.
well, this is the number one thing to do. But there's other things. You need to make sure you clean and sanitize all your equipment, any of your food prep areas, your dishes.
Dishes have to be washed at what temperature?
They have to be washed at a minimum of 110 or higher. But the most important part is the sanitizing part. So after you wash your dishes and you rinse it, you need to sanitize it for at least 30 seconds in chlorine bleach or a quaternary ammonia.
Now, this is at a restaurant, not necessarily in your home, right?
No, not in your home.
Okay.
You know.
Unless you have a
and
sanitizer
right.
in your home.
And most nowadays most dishwashers have a sanitizing
Yeah.
feature.
Sanitizing
So,
mode.
but yeah, we would love to have your homes
Have a
have
sanitizer?
have that part, but but for the public, we definitely need that step. We need that wash, rinse, and sanitize.
Okay.
And especially your equipment, you try to eliminate the cross contamination. Let's say that if you bring raw chicken to a cutting board and you're cutting it, and then you're cooking it. Well, you want to make sure before you bring, let's say, hamburger, which is cooked at a lower temperature than your chicken, you don't want that on the top of salmonella.
No.
So, we want to make sure these establishments know that, that there's, try to eliminate that cross-contamination, make sure there's a clean and sanitized step before you.
Does that happen?
Oh, it happens a lot.
In restaurants, you might see someone cutting chicken with a knife, and they'll use that same knife to cut another meat. We can't have that.
No.
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 we want to make sure that, you're using, your food safety procedures and make sure you're following through and make sure your employees are following.
Proper implementation of
Food safety.
food safety. Thank you. That's good. I like that. Okay, look, let's talk about you. You're not from around here, are you?
No, sir,
Where
I'm
are you
not.
from?
I'm from Texas.
Get out of here, y'all. How you doing? Get along home, little doggy. So, what part of Texas?
I'm from Nocona, Texas.
Which is near
Fort Worth,
near
Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay, all right. So, how did you end up in Wayne County, North Carolina, USA?
I was in the Air Force.
What part? What did you do?
I was a flight medic.
You were?
Yes, sir.
So, did you bring some of that knowledge with you to this position?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
how long have you been doing this?
I've been here in Wayne County since 2011.
Okay.
And then I was in Johnson County for a few years. And then I was back here in Wayne County. This is my second time being in Wayne County.
Then you got smart.
Yes,
Then
and
you
I came back.
That's right, that's right. Okay. If you could offer advice to the general public about what to look for when they go into a restaurant, things that might make them concerned, what would you suggest that they look for in a restaurant?
What we usually like to tell the public is, of course, look for these grade cards. That's kind of when you walk into a place, you notice something's not right, or you notice something. Look at the grade. If the grade is low, we've probably been in there, and they're probably going to a downward spiral. So, but anyways, if you do see something, address them. Let them know that, hey, I'm seeing you doing something wrong. See if they will correct it. If you feel like that they just don't care, contact us, and of course we'll try to get out there to do a little more education, or we'll do a inspection.
I wouldn't believe that you would encourage anyone to eat only in A restaurants.
No, you can eat
You
can eat anywhere.
Sure you can.
Just
a
lot
lot
of-
of there's a V or C doesn't
it
mean there's
doesn't-
something wrong.
no.
Doesn't mean it hasn't been corrected.
No, that's right. You can eat at any establishment. They're permitted. If we feel like they weren't safe, they wouldn't have a permit.
Right.
So
If they weren't safe, you'd close it.
that's right.
If they're safe, they're open for business. You
That's
know
right.
about it,
And they just-
it's safe.
It's a possibility they just had the time that we showed up, they had a bunch of things that were out of compliance.
Hey, everybody has a bad day.
That's
from time to
right.
time.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Look.
Some more than others.
Some more than others. That's right. All right. We've been talking with Craig Franklin, and Craig, former U.S. Air Force medic. Thank you, sir, for your service.
Thank you.
And he is now the what are you again? Health inspections
Well,
inspector.
I'm an
person?
environmental. Our title is environmental health specialist.
Yeah, I knew that.
But
That's
we're
what I was
basically a
gonna say.
health inspector. I mean,
That's what you are.
yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Craig.
Thanks, Wayne. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
In the second half, our second segment here, there's all kinds of stuff going on. The 29th of January. This will be the last day that we're here during the month of January.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, because Monday is the 1st of February. February
Already.
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 Today is the 29th, and that means it's Fun at Work Day. Whee! That's always on the last Friday of January. Whee! All right, it's also Free Thinkers Day. I can do that because it doesn't cost anything.
Doesn't
It's
cost
free after all,
anything.
after all. Today is Seeing Eye Dog Day, National Puzzle Day, and Thomas Paine Day, an American hero. Indeedy. Curmudgeon's Day as well. He was not a curmudgeon. He wrote well, though. And let's see what else we have here. Oh, the answer to our trivia question.
Okay.
Who played Simon Templar in the television show The Saint? 1962 it was, through 65, I believe it was on about 3 years. His name, he went on to star in the movies as 007. His name was Roger Moore. You ever heard of Roger Moore?
I have.
Very good looking guy. I mean, really, knocking
I'll
dead handsome.
Google him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Google him.
Google him. I
Very
know
handsome
the
guy.
name. I know the name.
Yeah, he is in his 80s now, and
Very
he still
nice.
looks good. I don't know how these people do that. Well, they got a lot of money for one, and that helps. You know what I'm saying? I tried it once with a paintbrush, and it didn't work.
Stop it.
It didn't
Stop
work.
it.
That and plaster of Paris. I've never been to Paris. You ever been to Paris? Yeah.
No.
Where do we go from here? Let's go home.
We're going to go home and start our weekend.
Oh, that's a good idea. Look, we're happy that you join us here. Can't figure out why, but I'm not going to ask, okay? But it's okay. We're
Come on
glad
back.
you're here. Yeah, I hope you're able to come back. Like they're going to go out and, But I hope you're coming back in here Monday. We'll be right here. And I want you to join us every day, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. or at noon or at 5:30 p.m. We'll be right here. And if you can't be here, go online to our YouTube page. And you can get to it by going to waynegov.com and click on the YouTube link in the upper right-hand or lower right-hand corner. All right, it'll take you right to our channel. And on there, you'll find our morning show listed by year. This, of course, is the year. This is this year,
We hope.
as opposed to last year. This is not last year. This is now, like this year. So, I'm so lost.
2016. All you got to do is
That's
click
it.
on it and you can watch
That's
it.
it. You got to click on it, and then you can watch it. So we'll be back again Monday. Have a great weekend. Drive carefully. Please wear your seatbelt. And until Monday, I'm Wayne Alley,
And I'm Kate Daniels.
and this is Wayne Goldsboro Television.